the nurse who killed 100 plus of his patients.
Doctor
Lock
for the
in, bro,
usual
lock in.
checkup, there naturally has to be some degree of trust between the two of you. After all, doctors and nurses are in the business of taking care of us and making sure we're safe, right? Well, that's not always the case, as we'll soon learn. Welcome back to Twisted Minds. My name is James, and this is the case of Niles Hogel, a German former nurse and serial killer who is believed to have claimed the lives of 85 people between 2000 and 2005.
Yo,
However, more recently, police
85 people between 5 years? Hold on.
estimate that his victim count could be around 300 over the course of 15 years.
Is he like... He had to get the death penalty. There's no way. Okay. Even if they didn't get him on 300 people, 85 confirmed victims, people get the death penalty for like 15. Okay. Well, obviously. But like...
If this is true, it would
They-
make Niles the
they
most
probably put
prolific
six-
serial
oh my-
killer in modern German history.
He looks like he'd do this shit too. No lie. I'm not gonna lie
Niles
to you. He
Hogel
looks like
was
he'd
born
do
and
this.
raised in West Germany on December 30th,
Like, you know,
1970.
some people just have that look of like, you know, they're doing some shit. Like there's some people, if you see them, you just automatically know. Like, oh yeah, he did that crime. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this guy, he murdered somebody. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he did that. He did that for surely. He did that.
When he was a small boy, he grew up in the coastal town of Wilhelmshaven in Lower Saxony. Niles said that throughout his childhood, he was never exposed to violence at home. His parents didn't fight any more than a normal set of parents would, and his home was very well put together. He also explained that he grew up in a highly protective atmosphere. These days, most of us would probably call this type of home environment sheltered, and that definitely seems to be the case for Niles. His parents did everything within their power to keep him free from harm and to keep him on the straight and narrow. To top them off, both his father and his grandmother had dedicated their lives to helping people. They were both nurses, and it seems like Niles always looked up to them. His father set a great example for what a nurse should be, after having followed in the footsteps of his own mother. When Niles became of age, he decided that he would become a nurse as well. On the surface, it seemed like Niles also wanted to do everything within his power to help others in his community. However, as time passed by, his desires would become much darker and more sinister. Niles went through very in-depth training to become a nurse.
Like, come on,
unlike
bro.
And more sinister.
He did the shit. There's no question about it. He did it. Look at this nigga, bro. He did it. He's guilty. Lock him
Niles
up.
went through very
There's no
in-depth
way.
training to become a nurse.
You
Unlike
just
nursing
see
schools
him
that
and
may
you're just like,
find in
oh
the
yeah,
United
no,
States
get
and
him out
other
here.
parts of the
You know what I
world.
mean?
In
Like, there's
Germany,
no way.
at the time, nursing could be taken as a vocational course instead of requiring countless years of college. By 1997, Niles had completed his training and became a nurse, working at St. Willehad Hospital. He was just 21 years of age. By 2004, Niles had begun to explore other opportunities in life. Niles managed to find love and decided to settle down a bit more. He and his longtime girlfriend were married in 2004, and later that year, his wife would give birth to
Yo,
their
chap.
daughter.
If he can find love, y'all can too, bro. That's all I'm saying. If he can do it, y'all can too, bro. There's no excuses. No fucking excuses. Unless you're built like Tismala, there's no excuses, my nigga. You know what I mean?
By
Like, there's literally no
1999,
excuses, bro.
Niles had decided to move on from his job at the hospital and began working for a different clinic, while holding down an identical position as a nurse. This was a result of accepting a job offer at Oldenburg Clinic. He would be tasked with taking care of patients in the intensive care unit at a cardiac surgery ward known as Ward 211. Niles had been working here for several years before staff members began to get a bit suspicious of him. By August of 2001, just 2 years after accepting his new job, a large meeting was called at the clinic. The board members were concerned that a shockingly large number of patients had been losing their lives over the last year. The leaders explained that there was an unusually large number of deaths that had seemingly come out of nowhere. To top this
Damn, bro,
off,
that's fucking
there was also
crazy,
an increase
bro.
in the number
Why would he even do this though? Like, imagine going to the hospital and fucking dying because some fat ass chud wants to fuck you up. Yo, hold on, hold on, hold on. That's not what I'm here for. What is going on? I thought, yo, what's good, bro? Like,
of resuscitation
for no reason either. There's no good reason. Like,
months.
Realistically, I don't care what you come up with. There's no good reason to do this. Like, there's literally no. You don't get any money. You don't get any fame. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would be better off saving them, because you probably get paid more. You be, you know what I mean? Like,
after
yo, this makes no sense.
According to the board, 58% of these deaths took place while Niles was on duty. After the meeting had drawn to a close, Niles knew that the leaders of the clinic were onto him. The following day, he would call
Kevin
in
Hart?
sick to close. Niles
I'm racist.
knew
Never
that the
mind.
leaders of the
That's my
clinic
bad.
were onto him. The following day, he would call in sick for work and would remain away from the clinic for a total of 3 weeks. For Niles, this seemed like the perfect way to lay low. However, he only made his situation worse. This is because after leaving his job for a short time, the number of deaths dramatically decreased at the clinic. For some of the workers who were suspicious of him, this proved that Niles may have had a part in some of the unusual deaths that had been taking place recently. Once he returned back to work, Niles was asked by one of the head physicians in Ward 211 to transfer to a different unit. It's unknown if this was due to a difference in opinion or if the doctor truly felt that Niles' skills would be more useful elsewhere. Nevertheless, Niles accepted his proposal and would soon be transferred to the anesthesiology unit later that year in 2001. It was at this point that the heat really began to amp up for Niles. The head physician at his new ward explained that he didn't like how Niles always forced himself into emergency situations.
He really did this shit for the love of the game. Like, he really did it for the love of the game. He forced himself into the emergency situation so we can kill the niggas. Why? Why? There's no point.
Like, to Niles that after
what is
he
going
would become involved
on?
in emergency situations, the patients would have a significantly higher chance of passing away or facing serious difficulties. The doctor never accused Niles of anything outright, but it seems as though his words were very clear. Soon after the two had this conversation, Niles was approached by one of the leaders of the clinic. The worker gave Niles an
This thing has
ultimatum.
no jawline. He has no jawline. I don't mean to keep like bullying him, bro. No, fuck that. He deserves this shit. He has no jawline. He has all neck. How does one achieve this build? What is going on? Like, you dead can't see his chin. Like, any of this is just not there.
Niles was approached by one of the leaders of the clinic. The worker
This
gave
is
Niles
bad
an
build, bro. I'm
ultimatum.
not gonna lie, this is bad build
Niles
game.
was told that
Horrible
he would
build.
need to transfer units once again or be fired from his position and given 3 months of severance pay. If he accepted the transfer, he would be placed in the logistics unit that did nothing but help move patients from one place to another throughout the hospital and clinic. That way, potential lives weren't in danger. It doesn't seem like Niles liked either of these options. Soon after the conversation with the clinic leader, he began looking for a job elsewhere. Just a couple of weeks after the meeting with the leader of the clinic, Niles was given a very good reference letter by one of his superiors. In the letter, the superior explained that Niles was an incredible nurse that always went above and beyond what was expected of him. The letter acknowledged his devotedness and cooperative conduct as well, and even explained that every task he completed was to the utmost satisfaction. It seems that even though the clinic threatened to fire him, they didn't hold any ill will against him, or they really just wanted him to move on. It's difficult to know which way they were leaning. By December of that year, 2002, Niles had accepted a new job at the Delmenhorst Clinic. Unfortunately, his questionable behavior did not end when he left his former job. At his new clinic, the dark cloud would continue to linger over Niles and his clinic. As soon as he joined the new team, deaths rose to unprecedented levels. Fatalities began to rise and were occurring every time Niles was on duty. For the most part, these patients would be losing their lives due to arrhythmia or other blood and heart-related problems. Many of his new coworkers began to shy away from him, not wanting to become involved in whatever was going on around him. It seems that many of his superiors were suspicious of him as well, but none of them took a step forward and accused him of anything. as police would later find out in court proceedings. By all means, this was gross negligence on the part of the clinic, as some of his co-workers had found 4 empty vials of Adrenaline while Niles was on duty one day, which causes life-threatening arrhythmia and heart-related problems. This information was taken to the leaders of the clinic, but they did nothing to stop him. A brief investigation into the matter proved that no doctors had prescribed that medication recently, and none of the patients had been taking that medication when the vials were found. All eyes were now on Niles, though it seemed like everyone around him was too scared to do anything about it.
So you're telling me they're just gonna sit there and watch patients? Yo, this logic makes no sense, bro. What do you mean you're too scared to do anything about it? You're just gonna sit there and watch all the patients just slowly get cooked over and over? Yo, we know who it is, bro. Look at this guy. We know who did it. We know. Why are we still looking around? I feel like this could have been like a lot of deaths really could have been prevented, bro. But
by June of 2005, police were finally beginning to close in on Niles. One of his co-workers had managed to catch him intentionally sabotaging a patient's medical pump. As the worker soon learned, he had been injecting it with Adrenaline, the same chemical he was suspected of 3 years prior. This incident was enough to finally get the police involved.
I still don't know why
he's
doing it, though.
They showed up and began conducting an investigation.
Like, what possible reason could he come up with to do this?
They found that Niles had been tampering with other patients throughout the years, and soon enough, the case began to explode. Police requested all of the death records and time cards for the previous 2 years, taking their investigation all the way back to 2003. It didn't take them long at all to begin connecting the dots, and every trail they followed led back to Niles. The investigation would soon come to the conclusion that over the last 2 years, at least 73% of the deaths at this clinic could be connected to Niles in some way or another. Though, it seems like the law works much differently in Germany than it does in other parts of the world. Even though this was definitely proven by investigators, there was still only a small penalty to be paid by Niles. Rather than being sentenced to prison for life, as he would have been if he lived in the United States, he was only facing 5 years behind bars.
What? I'm sorry. I must be hearing this wrong, bro.
As he would have been if he lived in the United States, he was only facing 5 years behind.
5? 5 years for everything y'all just called him for. 5 years. Y'all know he killed some patients, and we're only giving him 5 years? What the fuck? Yo, this cannot be real. Germany's dead. Germany's dead, not a real place.
Bars and a temporary suspension.
Actually, not a real place.
After being taken to trial with these allegations, he was found guilty.
Did you say temporarily? And a temporary suspension. Yo. Not even a full, like, oh, you don't have your license anymore, you can't get that shit. Temporary. What the fuck? So you're telling me after he gets out, this nigga's so chopped. Oh my god. You telling me after he gets out, he can just, after a while, he can just get his license back and go straight back to what he was doing?
After being taken to trial with these allegations, he was found guilty in December of 2006. He was then taken away to prison to face his punishment. However, he wouldn't get off that easily. No sooner than his sentence was handed down, a team appealed his conviction. Soon enough, his conviction was reversed, but not the way you might be expecting. It wasn't reversed so as to release Niles from prison. Rather, it was reversed in exchange for a larger sentence. In the end, he was handed a 7.5-year sentence.
Stop. What the fuck is going on?
His nursing license was to be permanently revoked. By January of 2014, it was almost time for Niles to be released from prison. Police
Which is crazy, by the way. Insane that he got out this quick. He should not have got out this quick. I don't care if it's Germany. I don't care what they're known for. A certain Austrian painter. That's besides the point. 7 years is crazy, bro. And a temporary suspension.
3 counts of murder,
as
well as 2 counts of attempted murder. It seems that at this point, Niles knew that the game was up and that he had been found out. He decided not to resist the charges and instead confessed. though he shocked the police with his confession. Not only did Niles accept involvement for taking the lives of 3 people and trying to take the lives of 2 others, but he added that he had claimed the lives of at least 30 others during this time. After investigating the issues even further, officers learned of 90 patients that had been poisoned by Niles.
This is a fucking joke. This is dead a joke. Like, this is not. He only got 7 years, by the way.
Patients, about 60 were successfully resuscitated. However, the remaining 30 lost their lives. Just a few months after learning this, Niles Hogle was sentenced to life in prison. His sentence was finalized in March of 2015.
Like,
the problem is that despite all of this, prosecutors still don't know the motive behind Niles' crimes. They suspect that he simply acted out of boredom and a sick desire to kill.
What do you mean out of boredom? Oh yeah, you know. I'm a bit of a nurse, you know, a doctor, some may say. But you know, I got kind of bored, so I just started killing the patients. You know, just for shits and giggles, you know.
However,
because why not, bro? You know, why not?
May have been trying to showcase how good he was at resuscitating someone. Though this is nothing but speculation.
No fucking sense, bro. No fucking sense, bro. Oh, are we actually gonna confess? Like,
you may be thinking that this is where the case begins to die down, but you'd be painfully wrong. Investigators still suspect that there was far more to this case than meets the eye, so they continued their investigations even further and kept digging into Niles' past, as well as the many deaths that took place at his various places of work. By October of 2014, they had learned that another 200 people had likely been victimized. Though these weren't cases like they had investigated previously. Before, of the 90 people Niles had victimized, only 30 passed away. However, of the 200 cases they were now investigating, all 200 of them passed away, meaning there were likely hundreds of others who had been poisoned by Niles but simply didn't know about it. The case had grown to such a massive degree that the local police needed to create a special task force to investigate Niles' crimes, with the task force being dubbed Cardio, spelt with a K. The prosecutors knew that they needed like evil. This guy, he's fucking evil. To do this, they decided to exhume 100.
Does Germany not have the the penalty?
This task led them to visit 67 different cemeteries, but in most of these cases, the victims had decomposed far too much to be able to prove their allegations. In addition to these cases, a further 101 victims were suspected, but their bodies had been cremated, so there was no way to verify these accusations.
Oh my
Even more suspected
bro.
Victims were exhumed in 2015.
There's more. We're already at like 300 something.
And it was found that they had
what are we doing?
Unprescribed heart medication in their blood.
Oh
37 other cases were opened in 2016, but it was around this time that police realized that their efforts were futile. No matter how many victims they managed to uncover, nothing was going to alter Niles' sentence. Thus, they began to take a step back on their investigative efforts and revealed to the public in 2017 that he was officially connected to around 90 cases, but that they suspected him of hundreds more. It was here that his case eventually died down while officers submitted their information to the courts, awaiting a trial that was scheduled to take place in 2018 and 2019. In the end, 100 charges were placed against Niles at trial. Niles Hogle admitted to 43 of the cases on the first day of the trial. He claimed
that's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. Their thing says justice. That's low-key kind of tough. Justice with a Z too, not no regular CE with a Z. That's low-key tough, bro. They don't have that in America.
They denied any involvement in 5 of the remaining victims. As the trial finally came to a close, Niles Hogle was found guilty of 85 murders. Needless to say, he will be spending the rest of his life.
It's crazy. That's not even half of what he fucking actually did.
Actions still resonate through
like actually not even half.
It seems like police may still be investigating some additional cases that could be placed against him in the coming years.
Like, brother, what the
Thanks for tuning in to Twisted Minds. That was the case
of... What the fuck?
Cayetano.
Yo! We'll save this for a later date. For right now... I'm going into some mother.